It's been quite the journey, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It has. Just when we thought that our journey was, God, it has to be over. You know what I mean? It has to calm down. Has to calm down now. Quite the journey, hasn't it?
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, awesome.
You think it's got to calm down now after everything, right? After watching all the videos and everything we went through.
So yes, welcome. Boy, it's so wonderful to have you here. Do you know how many people love you? Do you know how many people's lives changed? Yes, I know I have to do this whole head bob thing, roll my eye thing. No, it didn't stop bleeding. So
Yeah,
here she
I
is.
know.
Everyone's saying, yay, Sherry.
Envisioning you being here tonight. I was hoping.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been quite the journey. So as you guys know, I was called 2.5 weeks ago to go get a liver. And we went. And here we are 2.5 weeks later.
Wow.
With the new liver.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's I still got quite a few staples. I get them out on the 30th, all the way across my whole body, but it's worth it. I'm doing better every day. Today's been kind of iffy, but doing better strength-wise every day. So I'm getting up and doing something every day. I had physical therapy today. That was a mess. She wears me out. Just doing little things. I got to go out in public yesterday, the grocery store.
And we're not supposed to.
Yeah,
It's like trying to make her sit still. It doesn't make any sense. When they said, oh, it's going to be 3 months, and I went, y'all don't know her. I don't understand. But
I'm trying to take it easy as much as I can. It's boring. There's only so much TV you can watch. There's only so much reading you can do. There's only so much you can do. There's only so many naps you can take. In the beginning, well, when I first got home, those naps were essential, every day. But they're essential now. I just can't seem, I'm on steroids, so I can't seem to get to sleep like I would like to. It would be great to get some really good sleep, but other than that, I'm doing okay. My labs are a little off. They're a little bit concerned about that, but they're adjusting my anti-rejection meds.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing that to see if they can get it to even out a little bit. So it's natural. My body's going to reject this liver because it's foreign. It doesn't know that we need it, right? So my body is going to fight it off naturally. So they've gotten me on some serious medications that help counteract that. So my body will be more acceptant of this liver. We do not know yet, or if we ever will, anything about my donor. So I am going to write the Life Center, which in turn gets a hold of the donor family, which in turn has every right not to respond back or even take my letter. They don't even have to do that. So I'm going to reach out. We'll see if they reach out back, but I do not know anything about the donor, except for it was an Hep B positive liver. So I have to take medicine for the rest of my life to keep the hepatitis B down.
can you imagine if they look you up and they see your entire story though? you got to be curious just a little. I mean, if they end up, even if when you send this, of course, you can tell them that they can find you and find your story. What that's going to do to that entire family and generations to come based on what we don't know.
Right.
So, you look and this person that you ended up getting the liver from is going to have a connection to both of us for the rest of their lives.
Right.
And that family and so on and so forth. I mean, it's really surreal.
And to all of you, because they will probably watch our videos.
And they'll probably see your comments. But it will be beautiful just to watch and experience. You have your liver monkey you're going to give them, that's that liver monkey and the adventure of you and that liver monkey.
It's a sock monkey and the liver detaches. And I took that monkey with me everywhere. I mean, to every appointment that I had. Yeah, every hospital stay, it was with me on this journey. So
she's okay.
It'll be interesting. I would love for them to respond and to know, was it a male or a female? How old were they? You know what I mean? The amount of gratitude and there's just no words to thank a family for their selfless donation of, or the person who decided that they wanted to go ahead and be an organ donor anyway. You know what I mean? It's a very big deal to somebody who's waiting on that list for a life. And I was done waiting. I was in hospice care, and they were just making me feel comfortable, sort of.
Yeah. That's
just
another book, another story.
Just knocking me out of my pain. And then in the depths of hospice came a call, a life-saving call. And I got home, and within 3 days, I got the IV poles out. The catheters are stacked in the basement. And I'm just ridding my areas of the medical equipment. And
it's different.
And learning a new way of life, and learning a new, kinder, gentler, more grateful type of life, instead of really walking around like I'm the victim of all of this, right? And a victim of everything that's happened to me since I was a child, walking around thinking, God, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. There's so many things that shouldn't have happened to me personally, right? The sexual abuse. I buried a child. No mother should ever have to bury a child, period. I was 20 years old, burying a child. So much has happened in my life that when I met him and we went through this journey, right? This crazy journey. And you think, oh man, that was a lot. Okay, we're good. We've conquered that, and then life wants to hit you with something that's life-threatening. And then you realize that you have to keep fighting and 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 keep fighting. You wake up and I was many times disappointed that I had woke up. And it's so much pain and misery. And then I thought, this is never going to happen. So when we got into hospice, it was just a lay down time for me to get comfortable and lay it down. So this call was life-changing for me. And now we live differently. I live differently. I live gratefully and quieter, not so loud, and not so opinionated. You know, we try to keep that. I don't know if we keep it to ourselves, but we don't, I don't know. I just don't need the conflict. I've had enough. So there are, different paths that I'm looking at to take, and it's just a kinder, gentler approach. And really learning to take care of myself versus what can be done for me or who can do what for me. I had, my amazing husband here and my brother-in-law and my son here for 2.5 years, really helping keep me alive, literally. He would come down after session and hook my IV up, make sure I had my medicine, make sure I was comfortable. And make sure I had eaten for whatever that was worth back then. I wasn't keeping anything down.
Yeah, make sure you had a throw up bag. It didn't matter what it gave.
Right, it didn't matter what he gave me to eat. He just made sure I had a throw up bag. Went on Amazon and ordered actual throw up bags because
Repeatedly. Repeatedly.
Yeah. Yeah, those things are great, but now we have an abundance of them and we don't need them. There's so much change. So much change. And so much gratefulness. And so much more recovery that I'm not looking forward to. I still got, like I said, I still got a stomach full of staples. I still have 7 stitches in my neck. Well, why do you have stitches in your neck? Well, I was on life support. They shoved those things in my neck. They wasn't playing. It was pretty big. But here we are, 2 surgeries later.
I'm humble because of all of you connecting to us and staying connected to us, knowing that this would happen, never doubting for a minute that this would happen, which really kind of in our connection made it impossible for us not to know that it was going to happen. And let me tell you, the way it happened, we didn't get a chance to think. Thank God. Because I'm telling you, up into those last few minutes before she went back for surgery, it was hitting us that this was going to happen, that she was going to be in a healing space that we didn't know was possible. We felt that it could be possible, but at the same time, we were kind of living like she was dying. I don't even know if that really, that makes sense. That makes sense to us deep within this.
Yeah.
We are amazed that you're all here. We are humbled that you're all here. We are truly grateful that you stayed connected to us through all of this. And this is just chapter 1. Because we don't know how to not continue to write chapters of the impossible, but we know how to write chapters of connection. We kind of have looked at this and went, anybody that's going to be watching this 50 years from now and watching how all of you kept showing up, how all of you kept sending messages, how all of what we were going through was just right there for you to see what connection can do. we dream of a connected world. And this is proof. You're all part of proof that if you can believe in something and know that it's real, no matter how bizarre it may be, that a connection so spiritual and so powerful can win. And we had our days of doubting, and we've had our moments of doubting, but then we had our moments of just being purely connected. And you guys supported us in that. And we humbly thank you. I don't know. I know you can feel what I'm saying. You know, I remember kind of just having to regroup when we found out. And I remember what we were really, I mean, the way that she was told was, of course, without that, you know, she's in stage 4 liver failure, and it's probable she'll die. I remember walking in that room and the energy just felt connecting but dangerous at the same time. And I had to make a decision right then. You know, with everything that you could have thrown at you, you sometimes don't see all of the obstacles because you're not feeling your way through them. I felt my way through this. I felt her feel my way through this. And, you know, even now we're having like different talks and eye-opening experiences where we've learned something very valuable from all of this. The things that you're holding on to, the things that you make, that you've made important to the past about the way that you were hurt, the way that you've lived your life, you're going to have to embrace what you feel now, because you're not going to change the past. And you're not going to have connection unless you do that. And I would tell you what kept us strong through all of this was both of our abilities to do that. Because we've been through some shit. I mean, you guys have watched, we've been through some real shit. And I'm in love with her more now than I've ever been. I want to dance on the moon with her. I want, as much as I'm scared to death of her getting her pilot license, I'm going to make sure that happens, because that's what she promised herself she would do. And I'll fly with her. And nobody will ever replay this video to prove that. But we get to live. We get to live in a connection that keeps showing us time and time again. The connection is what you get to return to, but connection is what you can't have. I'm in love with you, and I'm happy you're here. And doesn't she look tan, even though she doesn't go to the tanning bed? I keep telling him, like, your color just looks so radiant. I don't know, maybe it's just me. You know?
Someone
Thank you.
said dance for Sherry Lee.
That's not to be seen on YouTube. You'll have to subscribe to the channel to see that actually happen. There may be some striptease involved.
Oh no.
Whoa.
She's got to wait 3 months.
Doctor
The poor
said
thing.
too soon.
Yeah. Don't worry, we're still connecting in deeper ways.
Sherry's glowing. I love to
Oh.
see her glow. She's glowing. Yeah.
You. Life, believe it or not, is a choice. I've learned that you can be alive and your heart can be beating and you can go through the motions, but are you really alive? Are you really living? I mean, I go through my day consciously choosing life every day. I have to. 3 times a day, I have to choose if I'm going to live or die, 3 times a day. Before I take that life-sustaining pill, I have to choose, do I want to live or die today? If I don't take that pill, I don't live. It's a constant choice to live. So if I'm making that conscious choice to live, I, by God, better be living life to the fullest because I'm choosing it. And I'm choosing more turmoil if it comes my way, more anything, right? I mean, I survived a transplant. Now you can't tell me nothing.
You can't. You really, no, seriously.
If
Seriously.
I survive this, I'm good. My kids think I got 9 lives. They might be right. I don't know.
And our grandbabies are, I mean, when Chosen saw you after and then was like, I can't hug you.
Yeah, he was upset he couldn't give me
And
that.
he was so upset. But then at the same time, can I see? He wanted to investigate and understand. But at the same time, their connection has grown. You know, I think there's a lot of different things that we experience where we don't really, we underestimate connection.
Mhm.
You know, because of too much past and not enough present, right? And damn, I'm lucky as shit. I just can't even say how lucky I am to have you, to be connected to you.
Well, I think I can say the same thing. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be here without you and your brother, Cam. I mean, he's sustained my life while I was sick, took great care of me, and still does.
You saved my life, I saved yours. That's connection, isn't it? I get it. There's a lot of you probably watching going, yeah, but mine, and you know, if you can just let that go for just a second and then ask yourself, do I value connection? First to yourself, then to the other person. Because believe me, that was tested.
Whether you're physically with that person or not,
Yeah.
do you still value the connection?
We broke, you know, I was telling her, I was telling you about the dream with your dad and my mom. And they were like, you guys changed connection in the history of family, in our families. And she lost her father to the very disease that she had. I lost my mother to the very disease that she had. And could masculine save the feminine within that? I had to do it in here every single moment I was doing it out here. And I didn't realize the impact of that. I don't think I ever let myself realize. I think I was so, when you're so in it, you don't really go, well, yeah, but you know, what about this or what about, I didn't have time to think. I only had time to feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, no, there's still ways that I need to kiss you. You can't go nowhere. I would think like that. There's still ways that I need to dance with you. There's still ways that I need to go experience these adventures. There were still ways you still needed to piss me off before you could leave. I mean, there were times when I had to get down to that nitty gritty and tell myself the truth of why I couldn't disconnect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was it's surreal now, but it's surreal because it actually worked. And I never thought it was going. I mean, you don't really know how to believe in yourself until you really need to. I mean, if you really look at it, could I stay connected? you can't stay connected to the person you're with until you really have to believe in your connection to yourself. And boy, was I taught that.
That's the way it was with this liver. Like I believed that it was out there, but I didn't believe it was going to be out there in time.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I had everybody on the medical side telling me that, you know,
You're not supposed to be here.
they're telling me that I'm not supposed to make it to the holidays, did it. Not supposed to make it through the next holidays, did it. These holidays were iffy. Even I felt like, well, things aren't working.
Yeah.
So these holidays might not happen. But manifesting that liver and realizing that I can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can do this, you know.
And everything's working, y'all. I mean, everything works. She had a implant put in so she could go to the bathroom. And the implant's not needed now. I mean, like everything just kicked on and started working as soon as they put this thing in.
I was having to, for the past 2 years, use a catheter every time I went to the restroom. I had to cath.
Not anymore. It's funny because I'm not used to her going, I gotta pee. And she gets up and takes off running. And it's like,
I'm not used to that either.
Hey, I'm gonna go check to see if I have to pee. It was a different conversation. It really, it was different. And wow. You guys have any questions about connection or about Sherry and about her
Put a
journey?
few in the chat for you.
Okay.
There are a few in the chat.
Okay.
So one of them is, how did you, Lee and Sherry, deal with time in their connection, especially in the race to finding a liver? Did that make sense?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I think I understand.
Yeah,
You
I
understand
understand it.
You want to go ahead?
No, go ahead.
I stayed out of time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, because time is what was ticking away in her. So I stayed in the space of no time. In other words, it was, what is she feeling? How's she feeling? What am I feeling? How am I feeling? What am I feeling? How am I feeling? What is she feeling? I didn't really sit there and go, okay, what time is it? When, I had to do that for certain things. But other than that, you guys can watch the videos and see, I literally was just connected to what's in front of me right now. And a part of that came from my connection with her. She made me stay present without making me stay present. It was like, hey, are you going to stay present for me and the love we have and the connection we have? Meanwhile, she wasn't able to necessarily do that because of the ammonia that was circling around throughout her body and in her head. There was never a challenge that I didn't know that she couldn't feel that I was staying in my feelings with her.
And there was a lot of times when I had to stop and feel him. Like, is he there? And then I would stop and feel, and he was always there.
It's kind of annoying, I think, for her.
Never annoying.
No, it was, you have to remove time when it comes to connection.
Yeah, they really sure did try to get us involved in time.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do this at this time, this at this time, this at this time.
You only have this time.
You only have this much time. And that was reiterated 5 or 6 times, you know what I mean? You really only have this much time.
And I can understand how people lose their life based on that.
Yeah.
Because when you feel like somebody's going to be leaving, you don't realize you start holding back the love that you have for that person because they're leaving, instead of giving them all the love and never changing that way, no matter what. That there was a constant flow of love between us. And even now I have it for you, and I can feel it coming back, and I can feel it staying steady. And I can feel it also saying, now it's your time for peace. You guys get to have peace. You get to heal. You get to heal the many that you always set out to do, but you also get to have peace and healing with you. And that, I believe, was probably the most profound aspect of just staying now with you. Even though it was hard for you to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I knew that you were in here with me and that we didn't
Right.
need time.
Right.
You have to let go of time to have connection.
For sure.
You can't have both.
100%. Okay, so we have two more questions. One for Lee, one for Sherry. Lee, what did you experience during Sherry's transplant operation? And then Sherry, do you remember anything while you were unconscious during the transplant?
The universe did something very interesting to me during her transplant. So at about 2:40 a.m., they said, hey, we're going to go ahead and take her back. We're going to start the surgery early. But they also told me, hey, we won't know if it's a good liver until she's in surgery. So they kind of left me out there, right? But they said, don't worry, we'll constantly update you. So of course she didn't want to let me go at that point. She's like, I've got to, you could tell that she wanted to tell me something, but it was like, I already knew what she was trying to tell me, just in case, because, the mortality rate going into such a surgery is like 30%. That she doesn't make it, which is high. I mean, that's pretty high considering they don't know what they're going to run into when they open her up. So I felt her nervousness. I felt her shaking inside. And then I felt myself just hold on to her and just say, it's going to be okay. So this nurse took me into a waiting room where nobody was going to be until noon the next day. So literally, I'm sitting in this room. My phone isn't ringing. Her daughter's constantly sending me messages, but I can feel everything. I can feel her in a deep sleep. I can feel them opening her up. I can feel them moving things in and out. I can feel them having to give her blood. I can feel, and my heart rate would keep changing. Meanwhile, there was no phone call telling me they started surgery. There's no phone call telling me she's out of surgery. There's no phone call telling me what steps they're in, nothing. And it was completely silent in the room with the infomercials playing in the background. So I'm going, okay, there's a reason why the universe put me in this room, to not be focused on anything but what is. And right now, I have to take my hands and just raise them up and say, I give up control. And then I just had to feel everything. I wasn't allowed to race my heart through whatever may be happening, why I wasn't hearing from anyone. I had to find that space where I was just holding her and she was holding me back. It was very deep. There's no other way to explain it. I stayed grounded in the deep with her. So that was at 2:40. So by the time I got a call from anyone, I finally started walking the halls about 9:30 in the morning going, is anybody going to tell me anything? I mean, I don't know if she came out of surgery, if they did the surgery or anything. And I happened to see this guy and I told him that I haven't been getting any updates and I've been sitting there since 2:40. So about 25 minutes later, I get a phone call on my phone from the surgeon who said, she did fantastic. Took 6 hours. She got through it like a piece of cake. But she's gonna need a few more minutes and then you can go back and see her. Then there was a relief that came over me, but then there was a danger feeling. And I don't know how to explain the danger feeling other than that something didn't quite feel right, even though he said that things went right. So when they finally took me back to see her, she's on life support. And if you've ever seen a loved one on life support, it's tough because there's a machine breathing for them. They're not fully there. And I was holding her hand And I said, if you can hear me, all I need you to do is squeeze my hand. I didn't say it out loud. I didn't say it to anyone, but her hand squeezed, but then it let go. She didn't squeeze it again. So they said, well, we need to get you home. You know, do you need an Uber? We're going to make sure you get there safe. Because how far do you live? And I said, no, I can get home. And of course I drove home, but I was in complete shock because of how I had to see her. And it felt like I was still connected, but it felt like it was uneasy. And I wasn't sure why. So I was planning on coming back up. And then they, of course, closed visiting hours by the time I was going to come back up. But then they called me later that night and said they had to go back in. And then I was home and I was finally going to try to sleep because she was on me about sleeping. She said, I know you're going to stay up and I need you to get some rest. So I failed at that. I stayed awake until I heard back from, I was in and out of sleep, but it was like I was with her. And then when I would wake up, I would be worried about her. But when I went to sleep, I was with her. And then they finally called and said, okay, we went back in and we found a couple things that were, you know, it was another 3-hour surgery. So I guess what I experienced through all of that was just not being anywhere but being clearly present with where I was and how I was connected to her. There was no other focus. There was no other focus that could something go wrong? Could something go, you know, could she lose her? I didn't stay anywhere near those spaces because I needed to just imagine myself being able to dance with her again, being able to just kiss her again. I needed to stay in that energy more than the energy of loss. Not that loss wasn't knocking at the door, because I lost a woman I was connected from, and I didn't want to have the loss of a woman I was connected to. I just didn't let myself have that. And I didn't want her to feel that coming from me. What did you, I guess the other question for her,
yeah.
I hope that answered the question.
Do you remember anything while you were unconscious during the transplant?
I remember when I first went out, I still wasn't completely out. And I remember them wheeling me down and me being scared, like, oh gosh, I'm not going to sleep through this. You know what I mean? They say they gave me anesthesia. I still can think. And the next thing I remember is just hearing some faint voices. And I don't know when those were. I know that I slept all day Saturday and I was out all day Sunday. I don't remember those days at all. I know they had to put me in recovery and then take me back for a second surgery. I don't remember any of that. I remember waking up and seeing Lee. And
Try to take that tube out of your mouth.
did I?
Your hands were restrained. You were pissed.
Oh, I do remember
she
that.
mad?
I do remember my hands were restrained. I do remember that.
And you wanted to take out, they had that breathing tube in there. And you kept looking at me like this. And I was like, I can't take it out.
Talk. I remember trying to talk to you.
And I could understand more than what they could understand.
And I couldn't talk and I was frustrated. But coming out of ICU and getting those apparatuses out and going into a regular room was
the next thing I remember.
That's the next thing I remember. Yeah. Just waking up going, is my liver gone? Do I have a new one? I mean, what happened? You know, asking him really what happened. And the nurse came and said, well, you got a new liver. I was like, well, all right. Can I go home now?
She said that for real.
I stayed 5 days in the hospital. That's it.
And she was supposed to be there 9.
5.
Oh.
I was walking the halls. We go home.
But we couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep well with you not being here after that.
Yeah.
And I don't think you could sleep well being in the hospital.
It was horrible. Oh, yeah. Hospital's horrible. But I'm up and I'm walking a lot during the day. um, doing a little bit more every day.
You lost about 40 pounds,
Yeah.
and it's going to continue.
Yeah. I was so frustrated because I had worked so hard to get under the 200-pound mark and I was sick. So I got that boost from being sick. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I'll take this, but I really should probably, I mean, then one day I thought, why am I really doing this? Why am I really watching what I'm eating? I'm throwing everything up anyway, just eat. And it's not going to matter because you're not going to be here anyway. Right. So those thought processes would go. And then the day of surgery, I'm so swollen and so sick. And they called me up there and I stepped on the scales and what was it? 247,
Mhm.
247. You know what I mean? I was like,
It was
oh,
all water.
I was like, oh God, you know what I mean? Ugh. And then after surgery, I came home and I'm so swollen. I mean, my stomach was this big, it was huge. And my hands looked like bubbles. It was horrible. And you know, the swelling's pretty much gone now, but it was a process getting that out. The Lasix, oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. Boy, I'm up every 15, 20 minutes going to the bathroom.
You have to go, don't
The
you?
water
I can feel
pill.
it.
Get the water pill, but I'm not taking any tomorrow.
Mhm. Your day
I'm
off.
resting from the water pill. But yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm not sick anymore. That's that was a big one because I was knocking on heaven's door. I was
By the way, I'm happy.
Heaven said, not now, not now. Got more to do.
Yeah, kick me back out.
I finally just opened the door. Said, "Come
It says made with recycled parts.
in." She's got a T-shirt to match.
Thank you guys so much
Yeah, we love you,
for everything.
and thank you for being here. Thank you for
Trusting in our connection, believing in our connection.
yeah.
Um,
There's a value in it, and you know, the reason this channel exists is so you could find the connection.
Yeah.
Not just the connection to the person you're connected to, but if you're a twin flame without a connection to yourself, how are you a twin at all? So you have to really kind of understand that what's ignited in you is important more than it is in the other person. So make that a point. I mean, you're not going to make it a point. Who are you asking them to be connected to? And we've put this channel in place so you can figure that out. It's not anything that Lee and Sherry believes. It's really about what you believe and how you can heal what you believe. You're allowed to have connection. We're allowed to have connection. So we would like to thank you guys. Soul Chat will resume next week, along with a few videos I think we're working on. Andrea, good to see you. Didn't notice you came in there. I have noticed now. Yeah, you can see her. See, there she is. Yeah, yeah, that's her. That's the real one. Right. See, yeah, she puts up with this all the time.
Lee, you're so giddy.
Well, wouldn't you be?
It's adorable.
I'm just, it's like I get to live. I didn't realize that I had stopped living because I thought she was going to stop living. And now that she's living, I'm going, hey, we got through that. And I stayed alive for us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what twin out there can say that? Yes, that makes me giddy. We love you guys. Thank you for spending some time with us this evening. And we'll be back. Count on it. And she'll probably have her pilot license, and there'll probably be a video with me screaming But you can connect. That'll be fine. You'll just have to scream with us or me. Just me, preferably, because I'm sure she'll be in complete control.
It just means I can get places faster.
I just want to say, Sherry, I missed you and I'm so glad to see you back.
Oh, thank you.
So glad you're back. Mm.
It'll be a lot. They want me to just chill and rest for 3 months, and then the next 3 months I can do a little bit, you know what I mean? But we're taking it easy and resting and doing what we're supposed to do.
Mhm.
All along, I mean, trying to get up and do things and, you know, make sure that my body's moving without doing too much, you know, falling asleep multiple times a day, trying to stay up a little bit. I've missed all of you guys.
Missed you too.
Miss you too.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And stay tuned to the channel. We'll be back. We're not going anywhere.
Thank you. Love